Hey guys, this is the same haircut as last video where you thought that the hairline was good after I went for a 6-kilometer walk, etc. So today I'm not completely happy with this join here, which I'm sure is somewhat visible to you. I can never seem to aim for the camera. I'm on my tippy toes now trying to get up there, trying to show you what's going on up there, because I can't see it. Obviously I can't see the join. Unless I do that and I see bits of light coming in. Wish this camera screen was a bit brighter. Yeah, the brightness is only at 50%. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is wet my hair. For this I'll need alcohol spray because I'm probably going to remove the glue, make the glue unsticky, stretch it back, maybe to the sides as well, depending on where it's missing, and then just maybe wait a little while for this to dry before I press it back down, because if you put something back on while it's still slippery, it'll just slide back down. Especially when we're talking about stretching plastic, it'll want to stretch back down to its natural position, whereas I'm going to force it to just go that extra bit further to try and hug the, I need a word for it, the natural hairline, the natural shave line, the perimeter. I need it to hug the perimeter, the shave perimeter. I need a better terminology. Okay, now I'm beginning to see it. It looks very gappy, and also I can feel it when I run my hand through my hair. That way, there's a bump, and often there isn't a bump. And it's not like this hair is different from other hair pieces. It must not be stuck down properly, and it must be getting caught on my fingers when I go like that, you know, because it's not, maybe it's not stuck down properly or something. Also, just looking around here, I can see there's a gap there as well, and that those hairs are actually stuck together with glue. So, to correct that part there, okay, first of all, I'm going to wet my hair. This is probably going to take too long, so I'm just going to put water on my hands and just wet my hair. And I'll go around the entire perimeter and we'll see what's going on. So for this I'm going to use a hairbrush, a comb, and some of this, and some C22 to get rid of clumps of hair that are glued together. Also I'll use some baby wipes and water from the sink to just really make sure that C22 is removed. So the tool I'll be using primarily here is a comb, and let's start on this side here. That hair can be wetter. You might think, as I do, why can't it just look good straight out of the shower or when waking up? But people with longer hairstyles always have weird, ugly looking hair. Like imagine just even a newsreader from the television who looks absolutely perfect, right? Their hair is exact. Of course they've got hairdressers and makeup artists who come by every 5 minutes on ad breaks and stuff and touch them up and everything. So they don't naturally, nobody naturally looks like that, even models obviously. Spend hours in the makeup chair and stuff like that, right? So don't feel ashamed for not having hair that just pops exactly into a perfect hairstyle. I get the feeling that people with extremely straight hair have had that superpower, but nobody else has that superpower. And people who are tanned with straight hair, their lives are just super easy, especially if they're not balding at all. So kill as many of those motherfuckers as you can find, out of like jealousy. So I've put C22 in, and now I'm just trying to brush the hairs separate from one another. If you're wearing lace, that can be a problem because this can dig into the lace and start ripping at it. But with poly, it will just obviously slide along the surface of the poly, so you can really kind of get in there and get that C22 to separate the hairs as much as possible. We're also checking to see if the edges have been shaved too much as well. For example, I can't quite tell though if there are hairs growing out of that corner there. I'll assume there are for now, because it's a fairly new unit and I'm not sure that I did anything wrong with that. If this were lace as well, you'd be very hesitant to be using the C22 while you're wearing a hairpiece, because it can really go straight through the lace, obviously, instead of bouncing off poly, which is another great feature of poly maintenance. Okay, now you can see there, or I can see from my angle, that this plastic bit here has been the reason I've been feeling that resistance, because that part there is an overhang, right? So that's never going to stick down. It's too far back over, here's an overhang. But that bit over there is all an underhang, a gap. So we don't want gaps or overhangs, ideally. Unless you've got somebody competent to do this for you, you're going to have to do it yourself. And I can't imagine people with many shorter hair pieces than mine, so you're going to have to figure out a double mirror system. See, all these hairs here are glued together. So I'm going to spray some C22 on there. And then brush the hairs separate from one another in both directions. So, despite the gap there, when it's pressed down, the poly will actually almost reach the hairline. There's not much, because the hairline is not a straight line like poly is. It's fluffled with sporadic hairs coming out. So how close can you imagine a straight line piece of plastic can press up against like a thicket kind of foresty type setup? It's not possible to get it pressing together exact. It'll be like this. That's the most you can do, right? Plastic, hairs, that. So I've basically got it like that. Up here, I've got it like that. But that bit's not sticking down, right? So whenever I run my hand forward, I'm feeling that lift. It's an overhang. That's a gap, and that's exact. Can't do better. If you've got extremely straight hair, you might want to think about using lace instead. Because you can't get... See, your hairs are never going to be fluffled like that. Your hairpiece is never going to be like that, and your hair's never going to be like that. Your hair's going to be like that, and your hairpiece is going to be like that. They must be like that, and the best you can hope for is having the lace at least like that a little bit, and your hair's a little bit like that, so it's not as noticeable for people. Otherwise it'll be, the tiniest gap will be highly visible. But mostly your hair will be brushed over the gaps, but still, when you get out of the pool and stuff, the thing is, getting out of a pull in my situation is going to be hard because the density is so much different from my natural hair. And to be honest, with lace, you can't see that discrepancy as clearly because usually when you buy lace, you're choosing to get some lower densities, like medium light density, for example. And that differentiation between in the join area, between the perimeter and the hairpiece, are not as obvious. So let's look at the worst spots along here. That's a massive gap there, right? Massive. That's a centimetre between there and there. And then going higher up, oh, we get to a point where it's an overhang. So I'm almost tempted to take this hairpiece off and replace it because that overhang can never be dealt with. But as you saw when I put this hairpiece on, I put it on crooked, and instead of just picking it up and putting it back down again properly, I cut away all at the front and everything and got this exactly the way I want. So this is why I'm hesitant to take this hairpiece off. I'd rather stretch these bits where they're needed back into position. This part back here, instead of stretching it back, maybe I'll try to unstretch it as much as I can. So I'm going to go ahead with this entire back half of my hairpiece, leaving the front stuck on. It's getting quite sweaty in here. Just double check that this isn't already good. Too late. I'm going to peel this back. The entire perimeter is going to get the same treatment simultaneously. Make sure this stuff doesn't dribble into your eyes, it stings. Oh. And I won't even bother adding more glue at the moment, even though you can, well maybe I will now because I can see that the glue's ripped off here, stayed here probably, and been removed there. Alright, I'm going to have to peel off glue and reapply glue to the back section. At least the problem will be gone for the next 3 weeks or whatever. And also, I've got to add, when I say the next 3 weeks, remember the rash that I had on my forehead? That's the reason I didn't even shave my scalp. So normally we do hairline touch-ups. It's rare that we do these join touch-ups because join touch-ups mean you fucked up in the beginning. You know what I think I'll do at this point? Take off this hairpiece, shave my hair, do it all properly so I won't have to do it again later. Under other circumstances you can imagine, you would just stretch it into position, make sure this one's stretched over. You'd wait 45 seconds. Just so I can show you in this one single video a basic read. Well, I can't because these have all lost their glue on here because it's stuck to the scalp instead of here, but not on these edges points here. I'd say that's because there is stubble here, and so the glue naturally wanted to stick to that because that was more of a rough surface that the glue preferred to live at, right, compared to the smooth poly. Usually the smooth poly is, I guess, less smooth than my scalp. Less smooth. Fuck, I can't bother finishing that sentence or correcting it. Okay, so I've got some hairs stuck in there a tiny bit, but I've got stubble in there as well, and a bit of a mess all around. And now that the glue, the alcohol feels like it's evaporated to the point that the glue's kind of adhesive feeling again. I'm going to start with this middle point, and I don't want to have a bump here because it's compressed because I've pushed it down, right? But I don't want an overhang either, but I'm just going to line it right up. There might be some little bit of a bump in there somewhere along the line, but hopefully the plastic just, you know, atomically pushes itself back together on an atomic scale, and we don't have to worry about it. See, I would normally just, if it was lace, I'd just spray more alcohol spray there and just keep pressing it down, but because the poly takes so long to let evaporation or absorption occur, because it's blocking air from reaching the scalp, you've got to sort of wait and not have alcohol that's wet when you're pressing it down, especially if you're stretching it and wanting it to, trusting it to hold into position. So this time I'm going to stretch this over right over to the join of the perimeter. Push this back here. And I just really don't trust it, given that all the glue separated from the poly and was replaced back down. Glue upon glue, air, scalp with no glue on it against poly with no glue on it. It's happened all the way along, as you saw. But, so you can see that the joint is repaired to the point that it's no longer appearing to be a problem. You'll know that when you do it, you will have shaved your head in advance because you won't have had this rash. And so you won't have the excuses that I do to have to take this whole piece off and do it again after this video is completed, if I can be bothered. But I will be bothered, because otherwise I could have that blow up sale thing happening while I'm walking down the street sometime. Definitely don't want that to happen. Or I lean forward to drop my shoes and my hair flips over and everyone looks down. Okay, so it's very hot and sweaty. It would be hard for things to evaporate and dry correctly in this room, but I can already feel with the brush that there's no gunk getting stuck on the edges here. It's just smoothly swiping between the hairpiece into my natural hairs. So that's corrective. And over here as well. And so you can see when that fully dries and I'm not in a sweaty environment, that join, when it lays back down, is now stretched over, so there's no gap there anymore, okay? And the join along the top, I don't mess around too much with it. Hopefully, up here, from your perspective, it's a little bit less of a problem. Of course, if I do that right now, because it's not done exactly, there is still that overhang, which is catching on the side of my finger and just wanting to flip. It won't, because the glue's strong enough, but I mean, it wouldn't have if I hadn't just done what I just did. You know, you're not a dog, you can tell between past, present and future, so I don't need to structure my sentences exactly in present perfect tense and shit, alright? You just get it, I'm assuming. Although some of the comments make me think that some of you don't even understand the basics. Maybe I should just block people who are stupid. I think it's fair. It's their fault for being stupid. Okay, so in your case, that's what you would do. In my case, I'm going to go air condition my head and then maybe pull off the entire hairpiece and try and put it back down. But I do love where this hairline is at. And so for that reason, I might just try to trust that that glue at the back is just going to do what I've told it to. So even a join touch-up is possible. And that's why this video is called The Join.